I'm Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, and these are my bullet points. The truth. It's a hard thing to find in modern day America between the left's total control of the corporate media and the lies spewed like a Gatling gun from the sleeper in chief. Finding the truth in the swamp is a difficult thing to do. Today's top bullet point is a simple fact that can no longer be ignored. Anthony Fauci funded gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab. And after the coronavirus leaked, he tried to cover this up, lying to the American people and to Congress. This is a fact, and it cannot be refuted. Let's explain just how we got here. In 2007, Anthony Fauci quietly reversed the United States moratorium on gain-of-function research. After securing the ability to do gain-of-function research, Fauci gave money to an organization called EcoHealth Alliance. That was easy for Fauci to do since he controls a whopping $41.7 billion. $41 billion. So Fauci decided to hook up the leader of EcoHealth Alliance, Peter Daszak. Remember that name because Peter's going to come up again. Now the EcoHealth Alliance gave money to the Wuhan lab of virology. Ever heard of it? They were conducting studies on novel coronaviruses. No one would have ever known or cared about this funding. But in 2020, a global pandemic came from the city of Wuhan and shut down the entire world. The question is, how did this virus come about? If you ask Jon Stewart, it's pretty straightforward.
You can say anything you want about some of my best friends are scientists.
And I love them, and they do such good work, but they are going to kill us all. The 1918 pandemic flu, they had a little sample of it, and it hadn't been a scourge in the earth for 100 years, and they thought to themselves, what if we just, woke it up? The world ends, the last words man utters are somewhere in a lab. A guy goes, it worked.
Unfortunately, that common sense opinion was suppressed. The lead reporter for the New York Times covering the coronavirus said that the lab leak theory was, quote, racist. Really? Well, let's find out. We need an investigation. So the WHO, a corrupt organization, which I filed a bill to defund at the beginning of this Congress, set up an investigation to do just that. Investigate where the leak came from. And who did the U.S. appoint to conduct the investigation? Well, Peter frickin' Daszak, the very guy who Fauci funded to send money to the Wuhan lab. This is called corruption. You don't have the person who you gave funding to do the investigation on what happened with the money. Now, I'm not the first one to have seen through Fauci's lies. My friend, Senator Rand Paul, saw straight through his BS and called him out on it. Just watch.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan? You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans, right. You're saying that's not gain-of-function? Yeah. This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain-of-function. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world from a pandemic. All the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
Fauci said he didn't fund gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab. But just a few days ago, the NIH admitted to testing if, and I quote, spike proteins from naturally occurring bat coronaviruses circulating in China were capable of binding to the human ACE2 receptor in a mouse model. Look, that sounds like a lot, but plain and simple, there you have it. They gained the function of transmitting to humans, just as Senator Paul said. So Fauci lied. He used the reporters at the New York Times and those he funds, like Peter Daszak, to cover it up. And we need accountability. Fauci should be arrested for lying to Congress. He should be fired from his position as NIH director. We need a full investigation into just how many puppies were eaten alive on Fauci's watch. Congress should be investigating whether U.S. tax dollars were used to fund the creation of coronavirus, which cost nearly 5 million lives and shut down the global economy. When Republicans take back the House, this should be the first item we investigate, and we shouldn't move on until we have the answers the American people want and deserve. While the country fell into one of the worst supply chain crises since 1979, when this was still in style, the guy in charge of it all, Mayor Pete, was on a 2-month paternity, whatever the heck you want to call it, leave. The guy was gone, okay? The guy was not working. Because why? He was trying to figure out how to chest feed. Maybe someone should tell him, please, so he can get back to work. Listen, I'm a mother of 4. I delivered one of my children in the front seat of my truck because as a mom of 4, we got things to do. Ain't nobody got time for 2.5 months of maternity leave. We have a world to save here. Mayor Pete may not have time to do his job, but at least he made time to produce an R-rated movie with Jeff Bezos Studios. Just take a look.
I made Pete promise that we would have fun.
This is the only chance you'll ever get to vote for a Maltese-American left-handed Episcopalian gay war veteran.
One candidate is dealing with a crisis back home.
You looked a little too green, like you weren't ready. Are you saying things that project the right kind of warmth?
Priorities, right? While Mayor Pete builds up his image as a doting dad, the country is burning around him as everything falls apart. You'd think that he would have learned that crises really put a damper on your presidential ambitions when South Bend fell apart under his leadership. But alas, here we are again with the transportation secretary focusing more on 2024 than on doing his dang job. We should have believed him when he said the only expertise he had in transportation was playing with toy trains. So when the supply chain crises means you can't celebrate Christmas like Mayor Pete in Chaston, you know who to blame. In Biden's America, your dollar doesn't go as far and your grocery store has far less to offer. We're experiencing empty shelves and price hikes across the country with a dangerous holiday shortage looming on the horizon. At least Biden's being honest about his incompetence and said he doesn't know what the answer to the supply chain is.
I don't have a near-term answer.
He may not have an answer, but we Republicans do. Just look at Steve Scalise's tweet where he lays out our plan. One of the items is to pass my American Energy Jobs Protection Act to repeal Biden's anti-energy executive orders, get gas prices back under control, provide rural jobs, and restore American energy dominance. And pass my legislation for the American Infrastructure Modernization Act to reallocate $650 billion, almost 6 times more than the funding for actual infrastructure in Biden's garbage bill, from unspent COVID stimulus money to infrastructure like ports. My bill will fix our ports without raising taxes or increasing government spending by even 1 cent, since it uses already approved funding. Moving from crisis to tragedy. Last week, a woman was killed on the set of the movie Rust, showing why gun safety organizations like Gun Owners of America and the National Rifle Association are so important. As a proud Second Amendment advocate, I know how important firearm safety is. Any responsible gun owner would tell you that the most important rules of firearm safety are to treat every gun like it's loaded. And of course, to always have proper trigger discipline. You always check to see if a firearm is loaded, and you don't point that firearm at anything or anyone you don't intend to shoot and kill. Unfortunately, Alec Baldwin didn't take the time to learn these rules, and an avoidable tragedy occurred because of his carelessness. This was negligence, his negligence, that killed Helena Hutchins, and wounded another crew member. It's long been known that gun control advocates don't have any idea what they're talking about when they call for banning scary assault rifles, whatever the heck that term means, as AR never meant assault rifle. It's Armalite rifle. It's literally a brand. Alec Baldwin has been lecturing lawful gun owners for years about gun control. But when it came down to it, he couldn't even practice basic gun safety. Millions of lawful gun owners across America have never hurt someone with their guns. Alec Baldwin killed a woman with his. People have been mad at conservatives for calling Baldwin out for being a colossal hypocrite. But why would they be mad at us? Alec Baldwin was the one who ignorantly, carelessly, and neglectfully killed someone. Be mad at him. Look at all of this anti-gun crap Alec Baldwin has pushed out over the years. This is literally in the flesh, one of those left-wing gun control nuts tweeting out things like, I'm going to make bright banana yellow t-shirts that read, "My hands are up. Please don't shoot me." Who wants one? Well, I have a question for you, Alec. Do you have any of these bright banana yellow t-shirts left? I'm asking for a movie producer. And after police officers tragically killed someone in the line of duty, Alec Baldwin dunked on him and tweeted, "I wonder how it must feel to wrongfully kill someone." Yikes, Alex. Not a good look. Did not age well. Maybe instead of attacking law-abiding Americans and villainizing police officers for defending themselves, Alec Baldwin should have at least taken a gun safety class, and he could have actually saved a life. Speaking of leftists who try to restrict your rights, let me introduce you to Jerry Nadler. This is him, sleeping at the wheel as the DOJ is being radically transformed into the enforcement arm of the woke mafia. Instead of asking Attorney General Merrick Garland tough questions, Nadler took a little snooze. Take a look. Instead of allowing the truth to come out, Nadler blocked ranking member Jim Jordan from showing a video of American moms and dads, or as Merrick Garland calls them, domestic terrorists, speaking at school board meetings. Then he bashed members of Congress for refusing to wear face diapers. Republicans stand for truth. Democrats stand for censorship. The difference has never been more clear. I'm Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, and if you like my bullet points, give it a share.